All right. What we have here is test videos on a Zoom call between my two cameras to see if this setup will work. This would be for a sharp practice game. So over here on this work table, I have set up what would be the two sets of forces. You can see on the left, the Confederate forces are all ready to go, and I haven't assembled the Union forces yet, but there'd be the two sets of forces there and the force morale tracker with the force morales laid out. Here is the dice rolling area where if we were rolling 6 attack dice and hitting on a 5 up, we would have had 2 hits, 4 misses. All right, so that's how that area works. This is camera 2, it has the dice. Then camera 2 rotates around, becomes a secondary camera on the board for individual movement or close-ups. So here we have some Confederates, and if the Confederates were given a movement order and their leader, who's not on the board there, but they would be obviously in sharp practice, told them to advance 6 inches and form a line towards there, start firing at the at the Union cannons over there. That's what they would do. So we could bring that there. Then we have the other camera, which is camera 1. Camera 1 is set up to give player eye views. So this is the table view from the Union deployment side. They're pretty much coming down this road, or they have the option of deploying from one of these swamps. And I haven't worked the scenario out, but that's just what I'm planning so far. The scenario is loosely based on the happenings of an actual battle, the Battle of Ball's Bluff. In the distance over there, you can see Ball's Bluff, and that's the real name. And Union forces are set up on top of the bluff. You can see here in our game, we're only playing a small section of the battle where 2 Union cannons were dragged up to the top of the bluff, and then superior numbers of Confederate forces were able to come in from either side of the bluff. So that is why the Confederate jump-off point would be here at these cows is one of them. And you can see I have placed some Confederate infantry here where they are coming in. And they are headed to capture the cannons. And then from the other flank, the Confederate forces have a deployment point, and they are coming in here with the purpose of trying to make it over here to outflank and capture the Union cannons up here on Ball's Bluff. All right. Our Union forces trying to rescue these. So these forces crossed the Potomac River into Virginia from Maryland. They were working on intelligence that a Confederate camp had been abandoned, left near Ball's Bluff. So they had crossed over. The intelligence was wrong. There was no Union Confederate camp there to capture. And they took a good position up on the bluff. At that point, superior Confederate forces in numbers came in from both sides, and because they were attacking from both sides of the bluff, had the Union forces up top, outflanked. There was actually 2 cannons dragged up to the top of the bluff, and that's sort of what we're recreating here at this one section up on the bluff. And Confederate forces are coming in from either side. The Union forces here are coming. The Potomac River would be further back off the table. They are coming in slowly off of ferries. So they are not here. They're coming, and they deploy up the road, or like I said, over on the jump off points or the deployment points over here in the swamp. And their mission is to rescue the artillery unit. So the artillery unit needs to take tasks to get off of the bluff. I'm going to have to move the camera to probably get a better view of the bluff. And that would probably be best here on camera 2. I don't know if I can zoom in. All right. So the bluff is across there. Actually, I'll bring it around to camera 1. So you can see it's terraced, so they can move the cannons down, get them over here to the awaiting horses, and they need to leave via the road and then come down the road and exit the 2 artillery pieces off this road they came. So the Union's mission is to come in, stop the Confederate infantry from taking the cannons, and buy enough time for the artillery to carry the cannons down, get them littered up, and hauled out. So that is my test game for sharp practice. All right. Anyone have any advice on how I could set it up better? The Union forces and the Confederate, I haven't worked out the forces yet, but I'm more looking at the cameras. Is it visible? What do you think? Okay. I discovered 2 things reviewing my Skype video, and I'm going to try to voice over here because the sound went wonky here. What I wanted to show you is that I figured out that having the 2 cameras on the moving board became quite disorientating. That's camera 1. And then I'm going to swing over here in a second and show you camera 2 on the dice tray. I'm going to have to keep camera 2 on the dice tray when I'm moving the board because I think it was too disorientating. You need to keep it over here on the dice tray there, big fella. Because when both cameras were on the board and it was rotating, it was like 2 turntables spinning next to each other and was a little dizzying. So the next thing I figured is I had a hard time seeing in the camera the units in the distance. All right, I'm still talking about my dice tray and camera, but I'm done with that. All right, so what I did is this is the advice of some guys on the Virtual Gaming Facebook group. Thank you, gentlemen. They had suggested in their workshop that you use flags, and you can see here I've made some flags. There's the 1 That
the
blue
recommendation
one
from some of the guys
is identifying blue leader 1, and he's marching infantry in column. And then 2
so
would be
I
red
went
or
ahead and I
Confederate
broke down
leader 2, and there's all the flags I made. I made 8 and 2 pendants. The pendants are marking the jump-off points or the deployment points. And so here you can clearly see that there's a Union force there under the 1, and then a red, the Confederate force, under the 2. Now, way in the back by the orchards, I'm going to show you in a second, there's flags back there. And you'll see... all right, give it a second. Anytime now. All right, way in the back by the orchard, past the schoolhouse, there is red 1, which delineates red leader 1. Oh, you can see it now. I'm showing it. And you can't see that infantry unit with that leader behind there, but I'm going to pull the camera down here. From a model's eye view, you could see. All right, you could see between those 2 trees or to the side of them. The camera's not going to focus on the units in the far distance. But you'll see when I hold the camera up, our camera view is obscured. So I need to have that red flag back there, that red one, number 1, to let the players know that that unit is back there. Then behind it, you can see the red pendant. That is the Confederate starting point. And then way in the back there, I'm showing you here, there is a blue 8 flag, and that's showing where the artillery unit is. So that pretty much sums that up, that I'm using flags, and I'm going to keep the camera on the dice tray while rotating. You can see it. I'm showing you that I'm going to rotate it down. All right, so those are 2 things I'm going to improve. Folks, I'm looking for suggestions here on how to do this better. I want to be able to create a good virtual play experience. And I've never run sharp practice before. Thank you very much.